You're listening to the Circle Up Prowl.
Circle ready. 3, 2, 1.
This is Bold Castify, the bold new way to podcast, with your host.
Hello, my name's Clay.
My name's Jay.
My name's Jason.
Training camp.
Yeah, well, before we get to training camp, let's start off with the big news that hit us hard last weweek.
Yeah, before you hit the pad, you gotta hit the paper.
Yeah, or you hit someone else.
And you crushed your glasses.
So we got Dante news.
We got Dante news.
We got Linder news. We got all the news.
We got all the news right here. This is Circle Up Prowl, Season 2, Episode 13.
It's got another short 2 hours from here. We're gonna get you home.
Yeah.
We'll make it there. Promise.
So at any rate, he's rushing through some fancy townhome apartment complex, Tampa, Florida, and his, I'm sure, Land Rover, his military green Land Rover, which is really sweet looking. And I guess between 50 and 55-year-old man said some choice words to him. Dante jumps out.
They had a discussion.
That discussion.
It didn't go well.
Did it go well?
That's the one on the street. It did not go very well.
He rips off the 50-plus-year-old man's glasses and steps on them, crushing them.
And then just launches
The man's
his bag
booze.
of liquor into a lake like he's playing 500 with the fish.
It's confusing.
Damn.
It's
Of all
not-
the things you do, punch the man. Do what you want to do.
But the
Cuss
good
him out.
news is that this is just an isolated incident, and he doesn't have a history of being a totally shitty driver or having problems with police. That's the good news.
That is the good news, right?
That's not the news. That's actually not the news at all.
Damn.
That's the hope.
Apparently, he tried to swing on a cop at some point.
Didn't you try to beat up an EMT at one point too? Down in Miami-Dade?
I think that was the cop incident.
Okay.
Yes, I knew it was South Florida. I'm going to put this into perspective.
So we said like 10 tickets and...
Nine this, I guess, from football season to football season. So I'm not sure. I guess a year's time.
Okay.
To put that in perspective, you and I would not be driving.
Very few.
No.
Maybe
No.
Jabbar Gavner.
Uber Nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good nickname. If he ends up being good,
Uber Nightmare.
Uber Nightmare.
I like that one.
I like that.
Horrible representation of just Jacksonville, Tampa, Florida
St.
in general.
Petersburg.
St. Petersburg.
Because I was arrested in the police department because I'm looking at his police report right now. He was bonded out at a little after 1 o'clock.
And
For like nothing.
Yeah.
$250 or something like that.
600 something.
600? Okay.
Well, wasn't much though.
Yeah, for a first round draft pick.
Cash bond, 143 AM.
He's fine. His whole contract's guaranteed.
Once it was $650 because
So, yeah.
bonded for
All right.
the one charge 500, one charge for
It's a bummer because
$150.
it looks like he's still a big dumb kid.
Yes, especially after his comments today, which is where we lead back into training camp. The opening day of training camp official or whatever out there practice. He met with the media yesterday, Wednesday. But he didn't seem.
But then I felt like to me he backtracked on his own apology.
He made a point to say he doesn't think he has maturity issues.
Yeah, and that one just kind of that got a few people and ruffled a few feathers just because of the way he came about it. He says he doesn't have maturity issues, but you look at him on the field, knocking people under the bench,
And
jumping off lines. Dante Personal Fowler. He's got a nickname.
The second most penalties defensive end from Tampa Bay, who played double the snaps.
He cost us 3 points in the Baltimore game.
That's undoubtable. 100%.
You maybe count that as a W if he doesn't act a fool. I mean, there's so many instances where he extended drives for the other offense because he's like pushing a guy while he's out of bounds.
Oh yeah,
Offsides.
Yep. Just moves. It's not necessary.
Here's something I know it's totally a little off topic, but still on topic. Dave Caldwell. If Dante Fowler is a total bust and Blake is a total bust, Dave's got to go, right?
I think if Blake is a total bust, then Dave has to go. Everything rides on Blake.
Yeah, like anything else with a GM, they draft the quarterback.
Okay.
Everything hinges on the quarterback.
Nobody
it
will
always
care
does.
about Dante if Blake works out because they'll be like, unique Ngakwe.
Yeah. Well, you had a little mishap here.
And I
went
went on this in the group chat recently. I think Dave Caldwell could very well be a garbage time GM. That's the claim that we have about Blake. He's a garbage time quarterback. He's a garbage time king. That might be the case with Dave Caldwell. So, like, maybe if you do keep Dave Caldwell, only let him start drafting
after the 4th round.
Yeah, maybe day 3, maybe day 2. He's had some luck on day 2.
True.
And, like, just let him stay away from free agency unless it's, like, really small potatoes. Like, the lower the stakes, the better Dave Caldwell is.
Yep, very true.
Telvin Smith, low stakes, great player. Aaron Cole, low stakes, good player. Alan Hurts, undrafted.
He started doing pretty good in the low stakes, yeah.
Sen, very low stakes, good player. Roy Miller, low stakes, good player.
So you're saying he's a better assistant than he is a actual general manager?
I'm just saying let him take over at the right time.
He needs to go ahead and take his best off early and come in on day 2.
Yeah,
just take that pressure off of him.
Yeah, just let it be.
Because, honestly, I know a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, and that's what it looks like with Jalen Ramsey.
That was hard to screw up.
Their option was going to be Bosa or Ramsey, and Bosa went off the field with the clock already.
And Bosa, not that bad out there either.
He's done pretty well so far in his first year.
You were going to win either way.
Yeah. Okay. So
with that pick, it was kind of like a hard to screw up pick.
Yeah.
I wish
you pretty much were gifted a pretty good option.
I wish,
especially for Dallas went Zeke.
And I mean, you look back on his choices in the first round pick choices in 2013 draft. There weren't a lot of great options at the top of the draft.
There weren't.
So when you have almost no options there,
I kind of give him that one. He didn't really have a lot of options.
2014 is going to be the decisive draft because there were a lot of directions he could go there.
There were a lot of directions.
I remember a lot of us were thinking Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
Watkins was an option. And he could have gone pass rusher. He could have gone quarterback. He could have gone like game changing kind of skills player.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack was there.
That's the guy. Okay.
There was a lot. There was a lot there. That's when the options were really wide open.
Right. That's before we knew the direction we were really going.
So there's a chance we could be saying, well, he really shat the bed.
Yeah. Well, especially when there was Leonard Williams on the table.
But we're a fickle group. If Blake throws more efficiently, we are going to be done with that. I can tell you right now, the people that are on Twitter that are talking about how terrible Blake Bortles is, they were the people that were trying to actually Pro Football Focus in 2015 when they said that Blake wasn't good. When Blake had 35 touchdowns. I remember Pro Football Focus put out a story about how bad Blake was after we did the 50 burger on the Colts. And I remember a lot of people really going in on Pro Football Focus. We're a fickle fan base just like any other.
Well,
we are. We very much are.
All right. Fickle to a point. If we got some consistency, I feel like if we just had an average quarterback, an Alex Smith, who us three all were like, whenever he went from San Fran,
we all went, no thanks.
We would. I know for a fact,
if I could turn back time,
I would have taken him.
If I could find,
but odds are, it's very true. But odds are, we'll never know the future unless you go. You gotta
hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, you gotta swing for the fences.
Hindsight's always 20/20. But
we swung for the fences and we saw what that could look like in 2015.
Yeah. Generally.
And we saw what it could also look like
in 2016.
2016.
To bring it back down to where training camp
is underway.
And he didn't look bad.
First day out, they say he looked pretty good.
That's a step forward because he usually looks not great in practice.
No, he's not a practice guy. He is not a practice guy.
Certainly a gamer.
He did have one ball almost picked off by Boye.
Yeah, but I kind of hope to see some balls almost picked off by Boye and Ramsey, regardless of how good Blake was.
There were some. Supposedly I wasn't there. I'm going to be there tomorrow morning. I don't know when this is getting put up on the Spreaker, but I'll be there tomorrow morning, and I will look firsthand and try to use my keen sight skills, which aren't very good.
No,
take some knocks.
Yeah, take some notes.
And deduce he is any better. From the word on the street, his spirals look a little tighter.
That is the word.
he also isn't getting bull rushed
That's true.
by J.J. freaking Watt or J.J. Conley.
Well, not even that. He doesn't have Calais in his face.
This is true, too.
We won't know what's going on. We'll get an inkling of it
When we go to
the
the
joint
Jags.
practices, and then
Yep.
we'll know
The joint practice.
what we got coming forward in the
are
third
big.
preseason game. That's when we really
Yes.
got the terrible news.
last year.
Was that Bengals preseason game,
Yep.
and they shat the bed, and you're like, oh no.
And breaking news: the Bengals weren't really good last
And
year.
you're just like, it's just preseason, it's just preseason, it's just preseason. But that was a good look forward into what to expect for the season.
Yep, and we'll get that against a rebounding Carolina team potentially.
Yep.
We'll see.
You know who had a worse completion percentage than Blake?
I heard.
Cameron Newton.
Yeah, he's probably
Wild.
bounced back on that one.
He had a monster of a bad year.
Yeah, that was a terrible year for that whole team.
Unreal how bad they
disastrous.
got.
It doesn't look like it got much better either.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's about where it went.
You know how you fix a problem? White running back.
Yep. Well, they tried to trade up for Leonard Fournette.
Yep, that's the rumor on the street, too.
Yep, they tried to make a big trade. They
Then they-
tried to trade up number 2 with San Francisco.
Then
No dice.
Then they fired their GM.
Yeah, I guess because he couldn't make it happen.
So weird. I don't think that's why they fired him.
No.
But what a
What an odd time, right?
well, that's not the
terrible
first
timing.
one. Look, didn't the Bills fire their dude like right after the draft?
Right after the draft, which that's kind of common.
Why is that so? That's so weird, right?
Because
Well, your staff's already filled
GMs in
up.
general are
Yeah, your
it's
staff's
weird.
already done. Everything's already filled
Well,
out. All the work's already done.
and they don't want the GM to get picked up by as an assistant scout at some other team and then just give out everything about their.
But it feels like firing a coach right after training camp is what it feels like.
I can kind of see what you're saying there, but they don't have a whole other job to do afterwards. The GM's job is kind of done.
Right, but
afterwards.
what I'm saying is like, all right, we don't want you, but you might as well do this one more time before we fire you. I would want to fire him before the draft because I wouldn't want him making my picks if I don't want him to be my GM. That's why I say it's kind of like firing a coach right after training camp.
Fair enough.
That's still really odd, right?
Yes.
Usually they entrust him because when they figure out the time they want to fire him, it's usually like in the case of Buffalo, it had to do with the coaching hire. The
What?
coaching hire had to do with the fact that he wanted his own GM.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would kill to just not be one of the jokes of the NFL this year. I would love that.
Yeah, it's that one too.
I would love for us to not be like hilariously bad.
I would kill just to get our Thursday night primetime game back. I don't know what that takes. What do we have to do to
Probably a winning season.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and get a winning season.
All right.
If this
Guess
team
what? We do
ever-
that. We'll probably get a Thursday, a Monday, and a Sunday.
If this team ever stepped into its potential,
Man, I just want to see us on Sunday Night Football.
Hell, I just want my Thursday night game back. I've only been to one Monday night football game as long as I've been a fan.
Wow. I remember going to a few of those. It's been a long time.
The first one I was working at Publix, but I've only got to go to one. So there's been two since I've been a fan.
Shame. All right, let's start a petition on Facebook and get it to the Jaguars. Get Jason
Monday night football.
Monday Night Football game. Anyways, what do you think about the possible talks with Allen Robinson? There's not much there, but they've been talking.
first of all, good for Linder. Like,
True.
I'm not even mad about that.
I mean, it's hard not to be.
But
Do you think it's a little high? I mean, I kind of do.
Discussed this before the show, and when we broke it down a little bit more, because he plays both guard and center.
That obviously probably spiked it.
Yeah,
playing at guard is a value.
Yeah.
play him at center, highest paid.
But I'm not even mad. Just the way the contracts are going to go. Same thing with Carr. Like, Carr's not overpaid. Carr's just the first to get paid.
Yeah.
You want to know what pain is? Look at what the re-up is for an actual legit franchise quarterback. Drew Brees is putting off the talks with New Orleans because he will bankrupt that franchise if he goes for a new contract.
Oh, yeah. They
That's
can't
where
afford
it's
it right
gonna
now.
go. So it's whatever. With how hard it is to find offensive linemen, I'm fine with overpaying for.
That's
our
fine.
own. Yeah, it's fine. So who's next up? I think it's obvious that next up would be Allen Robinson. What wouldn't be obvious is it before the season or after the season? And I assume after the season. I assume they're letting everybody else play it out.
Oh, but the fact they're talking it out. I mean, he said he's going to let his people handle it. Obviously.
Well, sounds like they are.
Yeah, I saw. We all watched the same interview, but you could kind of glean just from his facial expressions that
he's ready to get it done.
Yeah, he's ready to get it done. Whether it's here, City, I hope it's still here because I think that guy will have a bounce back season for sure.
That's the risk you take. Is if he has a good season, that payment's going to definitely go up.
I think also his agent's not an idiot too. You know,
No.
So his agent's probably like, hey. You can either play out or you can sign up now.
Right.
And the pay is drastic. An average number one to a great number one.
I'm sure it definitely is drastic or drastic. But it's definitely something to be seen. But you see the money they've given Linder. You've seen the money they gave Hearns a couple of years ago. Well, those are the only couple that have been re-signed under Caldwell.
Hearns needed to be re-signed because he was getting $20 a week.
And his contract was already up. He only had a 2-year contract anyways. And another thing, I don't know if you guys knew this. After this year, his money stopped being guaranteed anyways. So he only has through 2017. So if he is slightly average or below average or just good.
Or if Marquise Lee is better than him and you want to replace him with Marquise Lee, you can easily do that.
You can easily trade him.
For the record, I don't think that happens.
What do you think is his future?
I think that Marquise Lee is considerably more naturally talented than Hearns, and Hearns is just a better player because he tries harder. I think that he puts more effort into it, and I think Hearns will stick around. Is that the future you're talking about? Or are you talking about A-Rob?
I was talking about Lee.
Lee? I don't think he puts it together.
Don't think so?
People are trying to hype up the year he had last year like it was a great year.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't a bad year. I'm not saying it was great, but it wasn't a bad year.
736 yards.
For the quarterback play he was getting, wasn't bad.
Who was the best receiver on this team, and why do you think he's the best receiver on this team?
Currently right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably still have to say A-Rob.
Why?
Just because of his consistency and his catching and jump balls and how decisive his skills are.
You're talking about wow factor. You're
Yeah.
talking about, like, made plays that you didn't expect somebody to make. He's done that more than any receiver by far. Marquise Lee got some numbers last year.
Yes, he did.
How many plays were you like, wow, Marquise Lee, I can't believe he did that?
Well, he did undeniably wow everybody with the flea flicker to Blake. That was pretty cool. If you're looking at, like, wows, crazy plays, you'd probably still have to look at A-Rob or Hearns.
Yeah.
Hearns has had some plays, and Hearns has struggled through a lot of injury
And
to make
Marquise
those
Lee
plays.
should have a lot more of them because he is the guy with the burst. He is the burner. He should have those plays. Yeah, I'll give it to you. There's a couple plays that got taken away from him because of how bad Blake was last year.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, I'm not going to hold it against him right now because obviously we still have an injury prevailing. He seems to be healthy coming into this season. Let's see what he does with one more year.
He is definitely a wait-and-see guy.
Yes,
contract-wise for me.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, he's definitely after the 4th year guy. I guess I just wanted to know if you guys thought that we would, if there was any sort of potential, or do you think we let him walk?
I think you have to
There's
see how this
potential
season
there.
goes. You see how this season goes, and you're going to keep your number 1 receiver, and you're going to keep your number 2. I don't think you keep your number 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's logic.
Well, what happens if Westbrook, who has wiggle, if he wasn't even playing gunner today, so I don't really know.
He will make, if he has a breakout season, he will make letting go of that other receiver easier.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the whole
Hearns
concept.
or Lee is going to be gone. I think it's going to be Lee.
And that's the concept, is he will make it a lot easier, a lot more affordable to let go of that other receiver.
Gotcha. Either the 2nd or the 3rd, whichever one.
Whoever you're letting go of.
How strong are you on the feeling that you keep Robinson, Hearns, and Lee? What would you give a percentage?
Percentage-wise, going into next season?
Yeah.
25 for me.
It's there, but with all the receivers you have on this roster right now, with the potential, I'd say somewhere between 20 to 15.
I'd say there's a 90% chance
Wow.
that they don't. Yeah, see what I
Nice
did there?
swerve. I like that.
What a twist. Ratchet.
Boom.
I don't think it happens at all.
The only reason I would assume that they can, because after this year, Hearns is guaranteed money is gone.
So it's expendable.
So he's definitely expendable. They don't have a legitimate tight end. They don't have to resign a legitimate tight end for 2 more years. Ben Koyak and Neil Sterling.
You're assuming that we have a legitimate tight end on our roster.
Yeah, obviously. So
They both look good in those last couple games, but still.
So tight end was what was eating up what you would assume was another
Percentage of the cap, the money.
Yeah. So
will be divvied up in between the receivers.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, you come to terms and you realize that it's a good idea. We got rid of Julius Thomas.
I never wanted him to begin with. I flat out said it years ago.
Try to cover it up.
I thought he was garbage then. He's still garbage now.
But you spent so much time being mad that we got rid of him.
I mean, I didn't understand it. It is what it is.
No.
I don't think we used him properly either here. There's a lot of things we can dive into that, but that's for another time.
That whole thing.
No. It's a dead bones. It's a dead grave. It's buried over. Let that one stay in Coral Gables.
Yeah.
I mean,
let that be buried and get fat in Coral Gables.
Oh, ew, that doesn't sound good.
All right. He probably. I will go on record as saying this: he will do much better in Miami than he will have ever done in Jacksonville.
He better.
He will.
It's a different system too.
It's a different system.
It's more acclimated to him.
It's his freaking system that he played up in Denver.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's more acclimated to him.
And maybe they'll use him as a red zone target. What a quinky dink!
Isn't that our biggest hope for this season? Is that
all
the talent on our team gets used the way it should instead of the way it was? Because we have a whole bunch of talent on our roster that was just not used the way it could have been used.
Yeah, I agree. So that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up the Circle Up Prowl. Till next time. We'll see you next time and shortly and catch up with more training camp news as we're on the cusp of the 2017 Jacksonville Jaguars season. Duvo.
I can't believe.
If this is your first time listening, then thanks for stopping by. This has been a Boldcastify production and is produced just for the people of Duval and beyond. Also, show notes and upload dates are found at boldcastify.com. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorites on Spreaker, SoundCloud, and YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and Snapchat at Boldcastify. All links are on social media. Think bold. Speak bold. Live bold. Boldcastify.